Before we begin, viewer discretion is strongly advised. This video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Please exercise caution while watching.
On this day, inside the courtroom, you could hear hearts pounding louder than footsteps. It was not just packed, it was electric. The kind of energy you feel before a bomb goes off. The courtroom was filled with reporters, fans, and legal teams, all waiting for the next witness in the Sean Diddy Combs trial. The air was thick with anticipation as the judge's gavel fell and a name echoed through the room that no one saw coming. Kareem Cartouche, popularly known as French Montana. The Bronx rap legend, known for chart toppers like Unforgettable and Pop That, stepped forward, his face set with a resolve that silenced the crowd. For years, French had been a shadow in Diddy's empire, a loyal soldier in the Bad Boy dynasty. But today, he was not here to rap or recall good old times. He was here to unveil a truth so unusual, so unsettling, it rocked the courtroom to its core. French Montana has navigated the treacherous waters of hip-hop for over a decade, rising from the tough streets of the South Bronx to global stardom. His ties to Diddy go back to the early days of his career when a Bad Boy deal promised to catapult him to fame. But behind the glitz of music videos and sold-out shows, French saw things he had kept buried until now. With Diddy facing federal charges of racketeering, trafficking, and coercion, French decided to break his silence. His testimony was not just about one man. It was about a hidden world of power, manipulation, and secrets that could redefine how we see the music industry. This is the story of what French Montana witnessed, what he survived, and why he's finally speaking out. Born in Rabat, Morocco, and raised in New York, French was a street kid with a dream, spitting rhymes on mixtapes and dodging the dangers of his neighborhood. By 2007, his Cocaine City mixtapes were gaining traction, catching the ears of industry giants. One of those giants was Sean Diddy Combs, the mogul behind Bad Boy Records, a name known with hip-hop royalty. French testified that his first encounter with Diddy was in 2008 at a high-energy nightclub in Manhattan's meatpacking district. It was like the room stopped, French told the court, his voice steady but heavy with memory. Diddy walked in and everybody moved out of his way. He had this presence, money, power, respect. I was just a kid from the block selling DVDs, but he looked at me like he saw something. Diddy invited French to a private after-party at his Star Island mansion in Miami, a sprawling estate that screamed wealth. French thought it was his golden ticket. "I figured we would talk about music, maybe a deal," he said. "But when I got there, it was not about bars or beats. It was something else entirely." The courtroom leaned in as French described stepping into Diddy's world. The mansion was a display of wealth. Marble floors, gold-plated furnitures, and a guest list that included rappers, actors, and faces French could not place. But the vibe was off. There were people moving through the house like they were on a script, French said. Some were laughing, some were quiet, too quiet. I saw contracts being passed around, not for music, but for loyalty. Diddy called it the family business. I did not know what that meant, but it did not feel like family. French testified that Diddy took an immediate interest in him, offering studio time, connections, and a glimpse of the high life. By 2010, French signed a joint deal with Bad Boy Records and Interscope, a move that promised millions in advances and access to Diddy's elite network. "It was everything I dreamed of," French said, "but it came with rules. Diddy told me, 'You are in the circle now. You don't just walk away.'" French thought he meant the label. "I was wrong," he admitted, his eyes scanning the jury. "It was bigger than music." French painted a vivid picture of his early days with Diddy. He was invited to exclusive events, yacht parties in the Caribbean, private dinners in Los Angeles, penthouse bashes in New York. Each event was more unreal than the last. It was not just parties, French told the court. There were expectations. You didn't ask who certain people were. You didn't take your phone out. You didn't talk about what you saw, not even to your boy. He recalled one night in 2011 at a secluded estate in the Hamptons. The guest list was a mix of A-listers and shadowy figures, men in tailored suits who did not smile, women who seemed nervous despite the champagne. "I saw a guy hand Diddy a flash drive," French said. Diddy gave a knowing smile and said, "This is insurance." I didn't know what he meant, but it stuck with me. It didn't feel like a party, it felt like a transaction. French described a world where loyalty was the currency and silence was non-negotiable. Diddy had this way of making you feel like you owed him, he said. He would give you a chain, a watch, a feature, but it was never free. You paid with your freedom. You paid by keeping your mouth shut. The jury sat captivated as French recounted how Diddy's mentorship quickly became a maze of obligations. He would say, "This is how we build empires," French recalled, but I started wondering what kind of empire needs that much control. But French was only just starting. The courtroom erupted in shocked murmurs when French Montana dropped a bombshell that changed everything. He testified about what he called the shows, private, invite-only events that Diddy allegedly organized, known in silent circles as freak-offs. These were not your typical celebrity parties with bottle service and DJs. According to French, they were carefully planned, with non-disclosure agreements handed out at the door, security teams patrolling every corner, and an unspoken rule: what happens there, stays there. French's voice trembled as he described his first show in 2012 at a private villa in Los Angeles. "I thought it was a music video shoot," he said. "Diddy told me it was for a new artist he was pushing. When I got there, there were no cameras for music. There were other kinds of cameras." He paused, rubbing his hands together, the weight of the memory visible on his face. People were performing not songs, but acts. It was like a play, but nobody was acting. Some of them looked scared, like they didn't have a choice. The judge leaned forward, the jury hooked, as French continued. He claimed Diddy was the mastermind, directing the night like a film director. He would point to someone and say, "You are up," like it was a game, French said. "I saw young artists, models, people I had never seen before. Some of them looked like they didn't want to be there, but they stayed. I didn't know why until later." French admitted that he left early, telling Diddy he wasn't feeling well. "He looked at me like he knew I was lying," French said. "He told me, 'You will get used to it. This is how we build empires.'" French's testimony deepened as he revealed a journal he had kept, a tattered black notebook he held up for the court. "I started writing things down because I could not keep it in my head," he said. He read an entry dated July 14, 2012. "LA Villa. Too many cameras, too many masks. Diddy said it is just vibes. I saw things I can't unsee. People I looked up to doing things I can't respect. I don't know if I can keep doing this." The prosecutor asked why he didn't walk away from Bad Boy then. French's response was frightening. "Because I saw what happened to people who tried to leave. They did not just lose their deal, they lost everything, their music, their name, sometimes more." He described another disturbing moment in 2013 during a trip to Dubai with Diddy. They were at a private club hosted by an international businessman French did not recognize. "Diddy introduced me to him as his brother," French recalled. "The guy looked at me and said, 'You are loyal, right? Loyalty is everything.' Then he handed Diddy a briefcase. I don't know what was in it, but Diddy's whole attitude changed. He was colder after that, like I had seen something I was not supposed to." French said he started pulling back after that trip, limiting his interactions to studio work. "I told myself I would play the game, but I was not going to those parties anymore," he said. "I could not." French Montana's testimony took an explosive turn when he revealed a contract he signed with Bad Boy in 2010. Holding up a faded, creased document, he told the court it was not just a record deal, it was a chain disguised as a partnership. The contract had clauses about brand protection and confidentiality, French said. It said, "I could not discuss anything I saw at private events, not even with my own team. They called it protecting the family. I was 26, broke and hungry. I signed it without reading every word." The courtroom erupted in whispers as French submitted the contract as evidence. The document, stamped with Bad Boy's iconic logo, included phrases like non-disclosure of proprietary events and penalties for unauthorized disclosure, including legal and financial repercussions. French claimed he did not understand the full scope until years later when he tried to speak out. In 2015, during an interview with a hip-hop magazine, French hinted at weird vibes in the industry. Hours later, he got a call from a Bad Boy lawyer. They said, "You know what you signed, don't play with your future," French testified. "I did not do the interview again. I did not want to lose everything I had worked for." French's voice then grew quieter as he described the threats that followed. In 2016, after he started working with other labels, he received an anonymous text from an unknown number. "Keep your mouth shut or we will shut it for you." He also noticed strange cars parked outside his studio in New Jersey, their windows tinted, engines running. Once a man he did not recognize approached him at a gas station saying, "Diddy says hi." Friends told the court, "I did not know if it was a joke or a warning, but I was not taking chances. I started traveling with security after that." The most crushing moment came when French revealed a conversation he had with Diddy in 2017 after he had left Bad Boy. "I told him I wanted out of the shadows," French said. "He laughed and said, 'You are never out, you are just on a longer leash.'" French claimed Diddy showed him a USB drive saying it contained memories from their time together. He did not say what was on it, but he did not have to. "I knew it was a threat," French said. The courtroom was silent, the weight of his words sinking in. French also testified about a spreadsheet he received from a Bad Boy accountant in 2014 detailing royalties he was owed, over $3,200,000 0 cents that never made it to his bank account. When he confronted Diddy, he was met with a laugh. Diddy said if you knew what was really owed to you, you would never sleep again, French recalled. That was when I realized the game was not just about music, it was about control. French Montana's testimony was not just about his own journey, it was about the countless young artists he saw enter Diddy's orbit only to vanish or break. "I was not the only one," he said, his voice heavy with guilt. "There were kids, 18, 19, fresh off the block or from small towns, thinking they had made it. Diddy would promise them the world, tours, features, deals, but it always came with a price." French's breaking point came in 2019 during a late-night studio session in Miami. Diddy invited him to a party, but French declined, citing a deadline. "He looked at me like I had betrayed him," French said. He said, "You are either with me or you are against me." That was when I knew I had to speak. French started reaching out to other artists, quietly asking if they had seen what he had. "Some said yes but would not talk," he said. "Others acted like I was crazy. But I was not crazy, I had the receipts." French pulled out his black notebook, its pages worn and creased from years of secrets. "I started writing things down in 2013, he said. Dates, names, places. I did not know if I would ever use it, but I needed to remember." He read an entry dated August 2014. "Party at the Setide. Too many cameras, too many masks. Diddy said it is just vibes. I don't trust it." Another from 2016. "Heard a girl crying in the bathroom, asked if she was okay. She said, 'Don't tell him I talked to you.' I left. The prosecutor asked why he kept the notebook. French's answer was simple, because I knew one day someone would have to believe me." French also revealed a moment he had never shared publicly before, a 2015 encounter at a Las Vegas club, where Diddy introduced him to a group of investors. "They were not music people," French said. "They were talking about opportunities and investments, but it was not about albums. One of them pulled me aside and said, 'You are part of something bigger now. Don't mess it up.'" French said he felt trapped, like he had been pulled into a world he didn't understand. "I smiled, shook hands, and got out of there," he said, "but I knew I had seen something I was not supposed to." As French Montana's testimony reached its climax, the courtroom was electric with anticipation. Why, after years of silence, was he speaking now? French leaned into the microphone, his voice steady but raw. "I stayed quiet because I thought I had to," he said. "I thought I owed Diddy for giving me a shot. I thought if I spoke, I would lose everything, my career, my name, my safety. But you cannot run from the truth forever." French described a 2018 meeting with a major label executive who warned him about stirring the pot. He told me, "You are doing good, French. Don't mess it up by asking questions," French recalled. "I realized then that the whole industry was built on keeping secrets. If you spoke out, you were done. No radio play, no features, no invites." He hinted at other moguls who operated like Diddy, creating environments where young artists were pressured to comply or risk their career. "It is a machine," French said. "Diddy was just one part of it." The courtroom sat in disbelief when French revealed he had tried to organize a private meeting with other Bad Boy artists in 2019 to discuss their experiences. "I reached out to a few people quietly," he said. "I thought if we came together, we could figure out how to get free, but someone tipped Diddy off. The meeting never happened." French said he later learned that one of the artists he had contacted was offered a lucrative deal to stay silent. "That is how it works," French said. "They buy your loyalty or they break you." French also spoke about the impact on his mental health and career. "I used to love making music," he said, "but after Bad Boy, every studio session felt like a test. Was I saying the right thing? Was I working with the right people? Was someone watching?" He admitted that his 2020 health scare, a hospitalization due to exhaustion and heart palpitations, was partly triggered by the stress of carrying Diddy's secrets. "I was living two lives," French said, "the one you saw on Instagram and the one I was fighting in my head." In a breathtaking moment, French also described a 2021 incident that pushed him over the edge. He was in Los Angeles, working on his album They Got Amnesia, when he received an unmarked package at his hotel. Inside was a single photo, a blurry image of French at one of Diddy's parties, standing in the background, his face partially hidden. There was no note, no explanation, but the message was clear. "I knew it was a warning," French told the court. "They wanted me to know they were watching, but instead of shutting me up, it made me realize I could not stay silent anymore." French's testimony turned personal as he spoke about the toll of his silence. "I started having nightmares," he admitted. "I would wake up seeing faces from those parties, people I didn't know, people who looked scared. I would hear Diddy's voice saying, 'You are family now.' It was not a compliment, it was a cage." French revealed that his decision to testify came after a phone call from a former Bad Boy artist who had fallen off the radar. "He was crying," French said. "He told me he had been trying to move on, but the memories of what he saw at those parties would not let him. He said, 'You are still here, French. You can say something.' That call broke me." French said he spent months wrestling with his conscience, consulting with his family, and even seeking therapy to process the guilt and fear he had carried for years. French Montana's testimony did not just expose Diddy, it exposed a system. He spoke about the music industry's unspoken code: see nothing, say nothing. It was not just Diddy, French said. There were executives, managers, even other artists who knew what was going on. They would look the other way because it was easier, because speaking up meant losing your spot. As French Montana's testimony drew to a close, the courtroom was silent, the weight of his words settling over everyone. He looked directly at the jury, then at Diddy, and delivered a final, powerful statement. "This is not just my story," he said. "It is the story of countless voices drowned out by power and fear, of dreams crushed before they even had a chance to fly. I'm here to shine a light on the darkness, to stand for those who were silenced, and to demand justice for them all." French revealed that he had been in contact with victims' advocacy groups since 2023, quietly supporting efforts to help young artists navigate the industry safely. "I did not have anyone to guide me," he said. "I want to be that for someone else." He also hinted that more artists might come forward as the trial continues. "I am not the only one who saw things," he said. "There are others. They are watching this right now, deciding if it is safe to speak. I hope they do." Then, in a moment that brought tears to some in the courtroom, French spoke about his son, born in 2010. "I look at him and I think about the kid I was when I met Diddy," he said. "I don't want him to grow up in a world where power means silence. I want him to know his dad stood for something." French ended his testimony by addressing Diddy directly. "You told me I was family," he said. "But family does not trap you. Family does not threaten you. Family does not make you choose between your dreams and your soul. You did not give me this life. I earned it, and I'm taking it back." The courtroom remained silent, the impact of French Montana's words echoing. As French stepped down from the stand, reporters scrambled to file their stories, and the courtroom exploded with reactions. Fans who had idolized Diddy for decades were left questioning everything. Was the Bad Boy empire built on more than music? Were the parties, the deals, the lifestyle all part of a darker machine? And most importantly, who else might come forward? French Montana's testimony was a turning point, not just for this trial, but for an industry long shrouded in mystery. His courage has opened a door, and the world is watching to see who walks through it next. This case is far from over. As Diddy's trial continues, more questions than answers remain. Will other artists find the strength to speak? And what does this mean for the young dreamers still chasing fame in an industry that demands so much? Subscribe to this channel for updates because this story is only beginning.